When preparing for a landscape architect interview, it's essential to consider the types of questions that may be asked and how to effectively answer them. One common question is how to define success, which is intended to give the potential employer a sense of the candidate's work ethic, goals, and overall personality. The qualities most employers are looking for include determination, motivation, drive, enthusiasm, and a shared collaborative vision. To answer this question, it's best to mention what constitutes success, such as meeting deadlines and being recognized as a team player, without referencing monetary incentives. The goal is to show the interviewer that the candidate wishes to grow as a professional, not just be rewarded financially. For example, success can be defined as meeting daily, weekly, monthly, and annual goals, being recognized as a hard-working professional, and feeling satisfied with accomplishments at the end of each day. Another question that may be asked is to describe a time when the candidate went above and beyond the requirements for a project. This question helps employers learn about the candidate's work ethic and commitment level, as they look for employees who are willing to take on new challenges that result in consistent improvement and benefit the company. To answer this question, it's best to provide an example from a professional capacity, preferably related to a landscape architecture project, or from a volunteer or university setting. The candidate should explain how their skills will be transferable to the role and highlight their achievements. For instance, a candidate might describe a time when they led the initial conceptual designs for a handful of small neighborhood parks, and how they spent extra time speaking with adjacent neighborhood leaders, school leaders, and parks maintenance workers to learn about the issues they were facing and get their input. In addition to these questions, the candidate may be asked about their favorite landscape design project outside of a professional setting. This question allows the candidate to provide an example of a project they worked on in a volunteer capacity or university setting and explain why it was great and how it has influenced their future work. The candidate should provide details about the project, describe their influences, and what they learned from the process. For example, a candidate might describe a project to redesign a university's botanical gardens, which involved working with various groups, including volunteer students, design professors, maintenance crews, and historians. The candidate should highlight what made the project great, such as the collaboration and respect among team members, and how it has shaped their approach to future projects. The candidate may also be asked how their team members and colleagues would describe them and their work. This question helps interviewers understand if the candidate would fit well into the company's group dynamics and gain a sense of their personality and self-awareness. The candidate should reflect on how their coworkers perceive them and find ways to relate their personality traits to the job. For instance, a candidate might describe themselves as a team-oriented leader, citing an example of a coworker who admired their empathy and leadership during challenging projects. Finally, the candidate may be asked why they chose landscape architecture as a career. This question gives the candidate the opportunity to show their excitement about the prospect of the job and explain their passion for the field. The candidate should mention the reasons why they decided to pursue this career, such as their love for the outdoors and interests in art and design. They can also discuss specific events that led to their pursuit of this field, including childhood experiences or more recent events. For example, a candidate might describe how their passion for the environment and outdoor spaces, which stemmed from gardening with their mother, led them to discover landscape architecture as a career that blends all their passions. The candidate can then explain how this passion has driven their journey as a professional landscape architect.